When Santa Monica pulled back the curtain on God of War Laufey, I don't think the biggest story was that Faye was getting her own game. We already knew who she is, right? We already know how important she is to Kratos and Atreus. The real story is what Cory Balrog confirmed after that. That isn't just some standalone side adventure. This game is directly connected to the next main Kratos game. That's big, because for months people have been wondering if Ragnarok was really the end of Kratos' journey or if Santa Monica was getting ready to move on. Now we have the answer. We already knew the answer. You don't ditch Kratos ever. He is God of War, but he's not done. They're just telling the next chapter in a different order, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Today, we're talking about God of War 6, or the next main Kratos God of War, and how it all ties in together, updating you on everything that we know. Now, when you think about it, it actually makes sense here. Faye has always been the biggest mystery in the Norse saga. She somehow knew everything. She knew Atreus was Loki before anyone else. She knew Kratos would eventually have to change. She left behind the entire journey that ultimately led to Odin's downfall. Every major event in the Norse games traces back to choices Faye already made years before the story even began. I mean, we've spent 2 games following the consequences of her actions without ever really seeing what she was doing behind the scenes. Well, now Santa Monica is going to give us those missing pieces, and according to Barlog, those answers aren't just about the past, they are setting up Kratos' future. So that immediately makes me think this game is going to end with something that completely changes Kratos' future, right? Maybe Faye discovers a threat that's much bigger than Odin ever was. Maybe she uncovers something hidden inside the Everywind that eventually does reach Kratos. Or maybe she leaves behind one final message that Atreus won't understand until years later. I don't know. Whatever it is, Santa Monica is telling us it matters enough that the next Kratos game is going to connect. That's really awesome. That makes me want to go through Laufey and see what the ending is. Will it be a cliffhanger? Will we actually see them reunite? There's all kinds of questions. And if that's the case, do we get to do kind of like a Kratos Atreus thing from Ragnarok and God of War, but we get to do it with Kratos and Faye in the next God of War? I mean, there's a lot of options. I mean, but you also have Atreus, right? Where was he when we left him? He walked away to search for the remaining giants and discover who he really was as Loki, and then Kratos stayed behind to become a different kind of god, a god that people actually wanted to follow instead of be scared of. They were separated for the first time in the entire series, and that ending always felt intentional. It felt like Santa Monica was creating 2 completely different paths that would eventually collide again. Well, what if Laufey is the event that pulls those back together? What if whatever Faye discovers forces Kratos and Atreus to reunite much sooner than either of them expected? Maybe Faye plays that glue again and we don't get to see Faye and Kratos reunite, but I feel like that payoff is too big to ignore. And then we have Egypt. Let's be clear. Santa Monica has not confirmed the next Kratos game is going to Egypt. We need to separate fact from speculation here, but if you look at everything together, it's really hard not to notice where the breadcrumbs are leading. Laufey introduces gods from outside the Norse mythology almost immediately. I mean, we've got Sekhmet from the Egyptian mythology. That's not a coincidence. And if the Everyone really exists outside the boundaries of individual pantheons, then suddenly Kratos doesn't need some elaborate excuse to leave Midgard anymore. The bridge is already there. Think about how clean that transition would be. Instead of Kratos randomly sailing to another continent because another mythology exists, the story naturally expands because the worlds are already connected. So Faye experiences that first, and then Kratos experiences it next, and suddenly the franchise evolves without being forced. We already know there's parallel time moments in the trailer and in Ragnarok, right? Or was it 2019? I don't remember, but they're connected. They're literally kind of going through their things together, which means they could end up at the end of that tunnel together. Honestly, Egypt makes the most sense. Even before the Norse reboot, Cory talked about Egypt being one of the settings they considered. Fans have wanted it for almost a decade. Visually, it's completely different from anything we've seen. We've got deserts, temples, gods like Ra. We've got Anubis, Horus, Set, Thoth. I mean, all of them, right? It's an entirely new mythology waiting to be explored. So imagine what Santa Monica could do with modern hardware in that setting. It would feel completely fresh while still keeping everything that makes God of War feel like God of War. I mean, God of War is Kratos. Ragnarok fundamentally changed who he was. For the first time in the franchise, Kratos is not driven by revenge. He's not trying to kill every single god he meets. He finally becomes the protector that Faye thought he could be. So if another pantheon eventually enters the picture, I don't think Kratos starts the conflict. I think the conflict comes to him. Maybe another god sees what happens to Olympus and Asgard and views Kratos as the biggest threat. Maybe someone's trying to seize the power of everyone. Maybe Atreus accidentally awakens something while searching for the giants. Or maybe Kratos has to rescue Faye. Old Kratos wanted vengeance. New Kratos, he wants peace. But the world is, of course, not going to allow that, or we wouldn't have God of War games. So it's compelling. It's better than, here's another Pantheon, go kill everybody, if you ask me. I mean, I feel like it's way better. I mean, Santa Monica spent the last 2 games rebuilding Kratos into something he never thought he would become. He's a father, he's a leader, he's a symbol of hope. So the next challenge, I don't think it should be whether he's strong enough to defeat another god. We already know he's going to kill gods. That's what Kratos does, right? That's, at his core, that's what he does. We know it. The challenge is, though, whether he can protect the people he loves without becoming the ghost of Sparta all over again, and he only has to kill these gods as a last resort. He's not looking for the fight. And I think that is why Laufey exists here. I don't think it's because Santa Monica wanted to tell one last story about Faye. I think it's because they needed someone to bridge or build the bridge between the Norse saga and whatever come next. We don't just wake up in the woods and we're there. I think we're going to bridge there. We're going to get a natural transition and journey to Egypt. Not sure how, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I think Faye is going to be a huge part for the God of War 6 or God of War 7, whatever we are now. The Kratos God of War. I don't think we're telling Faye's story and at the end of this, Faye dies or she's dead again or whatever. She's already died. The point is, I think moving forward, somewhere down the road, it's going to be Faye, Atreus, and Kratos. I do. I think they're going to be able to come back together. Eventually, we have to let this guy be happy, right? Well, he would be most happy with his son and with his wife. So if Barlog is telling us this game directly leads into Kratos' next adventure, then every answer we get about Faye in this game is planting the seeds for God of War 6. So I guess whether the destination ends up being Egypt or somewhere else, you guys can let me know in the comment section where else we would go. I think all red arrows point to Egypt. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a Kratos story. It's not over. It's just entering the next era. It's actually more of a Kratos family story. If they had a last name, I would use that, but they don't. So it's, I think moving forward, once we get through Laufey, we're going to see more of a united type family storyline as we move forward. And then maybe they rip that away from us in the future just for the storytelling sake. I don't know, but I'm excited. I think Laufey makes perfect sense. The people that hated on it, I don't agree at all. I think this is great, and it gives us something that actually is tangible and holds weight while we wait for God of War 6. See you guys soon.